Morning, everybody. How's everybody doing on this fine Monday morning? Fine Monday morning. We had our 1 day of wind yesterday. And as you can see behind me, we are right back to flat, calm conditions. Had a little bit of a breath of an air this morning, first thing early. What's up, Keith? Eric, Devin Young. How's the bite? Well, it started out pretty good. I started out in a different spot. I started out over by the islands, and I saw a couple friends of mine over there. And John and Paul were out fishing this morning, so I stopped and said hello. They had one right before I got there. I left the dock about 5:40. They had caught one just as I got there, and then they caught another one right after I got there. And then the three of us fished probably for 20 minutes, half an hour maybe, and nothing else. Right in the channel. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go where Nate and I had them yesterday. And I zoomed over here off the North Shore, not far from Constantia. And first cast caught a keeper, which is the one I put up for the thumbnail. And then a few casts later, I had a nice big fish. It was, I'm going to guess it by eye. That fish was close to 20 inches, if not a touch more. And I was in the process of trying to slide him up into the footwell on the jet ski, and he came off, so I didn't get a picture of him. And so I sent those guys a text message and had them come over, and then it died. And every bit of breath of air died as well. They took off and went a little farther east, and I figured, well, I might as well stay here and fish it out until I do my report and then get to work. So that's what I'm doing. It is a beautiful morning. It is absolutely a breathtaking morning. I mean, it's beautiful sunrise. It was a little chilly this morning. It was in the upper 40s. So I kind of bundled up for the ride out here on the jet ski. John told me water temp this morning was 70. These couple cool nights have cooled it down a little bit. Again, no appreciable wind whatsoever. I assumed that the trolling guys would be, oh, there's a little tiny breath right there out of the southeast. It's what little breeze there was has just been swirling around. It hasn't been any kind of direction. Blew pretty good yesterday. We had a perfect drift in the morning, and then that wind really kicked up. I don't know how people did out here in the afternoon, but it is tricky when you have no drift and no other means of propulsion on your vessel. Tell you what, I am seeing more and more and more and more. It seems like damn near every cast I've got zebra mussels on. Matt Lussey, Rick Menzel, Scott Tagata, Merlin Johnson, Eric Wisniewski, Barn Dogs at the Nest, Tuesday night. Who's that, Eric? Morning, Matt. That must be you just north of me. Are you in that pontoon, Randy? It's the only boat I see to the south of me. George Parson, good morning. Don Birdie, good morning. Scott Duranda, good morning. But no matter what the conditions, this sure is a nice way to start the day, especially on Monday. That big fish was a hole in one too. I'd casted it. I was letting it sink to the bottom. I was looking around, clicked the bail, went to lift it for the first jig, and it was solid. And I went, oh. Oh, okay, Randy. Yeah. Yeah, I saw you trolling when I first came over here this morning early. Great Dead cover band, Tuesday night. Where's the Nest? I've heard of that before, haven't I? I'll ask anyway. I rigged up a second rod. I caught both my fish this morning on Homie, black gold I1 blade bait, and a Apulia Station. Good Lord, that sounds like the end of the earth to me, Eric. For a Tuesday night, listen to me. I sound like I'm 100. So this is the Ronnie Bird. See those two flappers on the sides there? So this is the Ronnie Bird lure, and I fished with Adam, the owner of this lure company, on Saturday morning. We didn't do anything, but excuse me, but a little bug flew right in my mouth. So this is the biggest size that he has, and most of this has always been used. This lure's been used for ice fishing. So I want to start fishing it and see what I can do with it. And I have a couple ideas on some different, tricks, whatnot. But the first thing that I noticed, now it would have been almost impossible to fish it yesterday in a regular drift because it's so light. This is the 2-inch one, and I forget what he told me it actually weighs, but my guess is it's somewhere between 1/4 and 3/8. It's light, and I don't tend to fish things too light very well. I'm a little more heavy-handed when it comes to stuff that I jig, especially. I want to feel and really see that lure go back into the bottom. So before I came out this morning, I was out in the garage quick, and I said, how can I add a little bit more weight to it without effectively killing it, And so I said, all right. So I took a little 1/4 ounce tungsten weight, and I pegged it with a bobber stop. I probably could take that snap out, although I don't think it really makes a difference. So my first thought with this was, now I'm going to get it a little heavier and get it down there faster and keep my bottom contact a little better. So we'll see. I do have a couple other ideas with some different hook combinations that that I have thought about, putting on, and even possibly a single hook and run a piece of bait on it, or um, plastic, a piece of plastic, a fluke body, a straight tail worm, something. Um, but I'm trying to figure out the cadence and how, because what I did notice is that it flips over a little bit, and I'm casting it and I'm jigging it like I would anything else. Um, trying to fish it like any other casting spoon or jigging spoon, like a Castmaster or something like that. But we'll see. I had to spin myself around a little bit. That oddly enough, that little tiny bit of breeze was, I was pulling it instead of jigging it. So it looks very interesting. It's got a lot of flash to it. It's got. I just gotta give it more time. That's all. Gotta give it more time, and it'd be nice if I was in my boat, with a good picture, able to really work it and see how fish are reacting to it, and like anything, you got to get a little confidence built up. Anytime you want to try to fish a new lure, most guys will throw it, 4 or 5 casts, and if they don't catch one really on the first cast or two with a new lure, they're like, I'll put it over here and I'll fish what I always fish, and then I'll come back to it. When you want to break in a new lure, you want to break in a new technique, you really got to focus on it. You got to force yourself to, and a lot of times only fish that, and really get to know it, and because every lure is a tool, and every tool has a proper way to use it, what it's meant for, how it's meant to be used. You got to figure all that out for yourself on that new lure, whether it's a blade bait or a jig and wrap or a Ronnie Bird lure or anything else in between. We know what we know, and we don't know what we don't know. And when you don't know something and you want to know it, what do? Well, you study it. You go over it. You use it. You keep it in your mind's eye over and over and over again, and you force yourself to not have a plan B. If you really want to go out and start to, and again, that's technique or lure, you got to put the time in. You got to put the time in, and sometimes that time can be painful and not very productive. But the theory is that once you get to that point and you've crossed that hump, or you've flattened that curve out, now you have, now you got lightning in a bottle. Now you have something that you have confidence in, that in certain situations you can do this with it here, and that's what I'll find out with this lure. Ice fishing, I'm sure, and I know they do very well with them, and he's got quite a following already out in the Midwest. In a lot of ways, walleye are walleye, fish are fish. I don't necessarily think it matters. I mean, I know the same species can act completely different in different situations in different locations, but there is still an overriding theme that should translate. If I saw the bunch of guys, Troy and Paul Kostarowski and a whole bunch of guys that went out to Lake Erie this spring, they did great. I want to go to the Midwest, out to Minnesota and Wisconsin this summer and fish some of those famous lakes out there. And I'm going to start with a blade bait. I'm going to start with what I know, because why wouldn't you? You put me over walleyes, why shouldn't I be able to catch them with the same things I do here in this lake? I don't see why I wouldn't be able to. So, whatever. Like I say, I brought it out this morning. I think as I keep using it, you will see me come out with just one rod, one lure, and that's it. And that's how you figure yourself out. That's how you get that familiarity with something, and then it becomes not a new lure, but one of your go-tos in your rotation. Jim G, Chief Stone, Drop Shot, Jim Hagler, Bill Gilbert, Danny Diamond. What's up, everybody? So that's my morning. I had 2 nice walleyes. Those were the only 2 bites I had. Certainly not covering any water today, that's for sure. It is flat. Look at it out back of me. Flat. Need a little wind here. So, with that being said, it's Monday morning. I'm going to work. And I'm going to say goodbye to all of you, lovely people. And I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Keep your tip up. Enjoy your Monday. If you start your week out good, everything's going to be better.